Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're okay and had a good Easter. Here we are again on another Vicar's Ramble. It's sunglasses because it's bright and hats because it's cold. It's a bit of an odd situation going on today. And we're out here in the middle of the fields walking down these ancient paths. Rusty's having a good sniff. And as we were walking down these paths today, I was really sort of thinking about the people that might have walked down them before. You know, the generations of people who used to work these lands and who still work these lands, who walk these paths. And paths often go in different directions, don't they? Just like people, we go in different directions. And for me, I've been thinking about Jesus and Easter and some of his great teachings. None more so when I think about paths and the two paths the brothers took in his story, his parable of the prodigal son. Many of us remember it from Sunday school, if you were lucky enough to go to that. The younger son asks the father for his share of the inheritance, which in that culture really was kind of like saying, Dad, family, I wish you were dead. It's an insulting thing to do. And so he takes the money, he leaves, and he spends it all, doesn't he, on reckless living. Eventually, he finds himself hungry, ashamed, and even feeding pigs, which in the Jewish culture was really about as low as you could go. And so he decides to go home, this younger son. He's spent the lot. He's walked a path of licentiousness, of abundance, exuberance, and he's got nothing left. So he decides to go home. He doesn't expect forgiveness. What he wants really is a job at his father's farm. He wants his dad to give him something to do so that he doesn't have to sink any lower. But then Jesus tells us something extraordinary happens. As the son was walking home, but while he was still far off, the father sees him, and the father runs. Now, in that culture, dignified men did not run. It was not the thing to do. But here, we hear how the father lifts up his robes, runs down the road, throws his arms around the son and welcomes him home. And not only that, not only a cuddle and a welcome home, he gives him a robe, he gives him a new ring, sandals for his feet. In other words, the father restores the identity of this son as his son. One of the great books, if you're interested, short book on this parable, is a book called The Prodigal God by a chap called Tim Keller. Oh, it's a bit windy. Because it tells us also about the older son, doesn't it, this parable. The younger son was the one who ran away. The phone's blowing out my hand. But the older son stayed and was faithful. He follows the rules. And actually, what we learn is that his heart is just as far, just as distant from the father as the younger ones. One rebels, but the other resents. The younger one rebels, but the older one resents. And so Jesus tells this story because both kinds of people, we often feel sorry for that older brother, don't we? Staying and doing all the good work. But Jesus tells us that both kind of people kind of exist in life. Those who feel far from God because of their mistakes, and those who think they're close to God because they've always done the right thing. They've always been to church. They're Christian. They always take communion, whatever it is. But that book I mentioned by Tim Keller, The Prodigal God, helps us shift the focus onto God, the Father who runs, the Father who restores, the Father whose love is extravagant. And that's why Keller says the real prodigal, the story, might actually be God. The prodigal meaning lavish, the prodigal meaning extravagant, the prodigal meaning almost reckless in generosity. God is the one who runs towards us. And that's such good news for us today, isn't it? In the cold and in the sunshine and in the paths that we travel here in West Berkshire, most of us have moments when we've wandered a bit. Most of us have made mistakes. Most of us have taken wrong turns. But the story that Jesus opens for us is that home with God is always open for us. The Father still watches the road, still runs to meet us, still places a robe on our shoulders and says, "You belong to me." So I know that's a bit longer as a reflection than perhaps some of my other videos, but it's important, I think, that wherever you find yourself today, with whatever you are facing this day, along your road, along your path, we remember together that in God, Jesus is the one who runs towards us, the prodigal God, the one who welcomes us home, gives us back our identity, and invites us to be his sons and daughters. So why not join us? Come and be with us this week as we all turn around and come home to him. Have a great week. God bless.